So when you look at life insurance companies, like from the standpoint of like being safe, so like for example, I think it's New York Life, their total asset value is like three or $400 billion. And that's actually the same size as the country of Kuwait. So they're actually like as big as an actual country. They have usually like, I think for example, Mass Mutual has like $25 billion just in cash reserves. So that's just cash to like, you know, be solvent and like keep things afloat. And then the other aspect too is their liabilities are actually what we would consider assets. So when they know they're gonna have to pay out death claims, they set aside cash for that. And it actually is cash, but on their books, they call it a liability because they know they're gonna have to pay it out. But it's actually cash, right? So it's you know, more and more solvency on top of that. And then they do invest heavily in like bonds, things that don't have volatility with the stock market. So like, you know, when you look at like commercial real estate deals, a lot of those are financed by life insurance companies. And so they're making interest on all those commercial mortgages. They buy treasury debt. Again, not the greatest investment in the world, but it's safe, it pays. You know, as long as taxation exists, treasury bills will get paid. And then, you know, they also do a lot of, you know, like blue chip investing, like stock investing, like Warren Buffett does. So they don't do like the S&P index fund and they don't speculate. They're like, hey, we're going to go buy 10% of Microsoft. And then they're actually like a big shareholder in Microsoft. What they think and say matters, and Microsoft listens to them, for example. So they'll do that with these larger blue chip dividend paying companies and kind of the more established ones. So they do have some exposure in markets, but it's not this giant, you know, when the market goes down, we're going to go down with it. And then the other aspect too is they do a lot of private equity. So they'll actually invest in like smaller companies or private companies, or they'll buy out subsidiary insurance companies. Like they'll buy out, you know, I think in 2019, Mass Mutual bought out American life insurance company. They do annuities. So it's this giant $1 billion company that sells annuities. Now Mass Mutual owns them, and then they'll pump up because they have the systems and staff. So they'll pump up the expansion on these smaller companies, and they're going to be able to see, you know, just exponential growth, more than you'd see on a stock or a real estate deal. Sometimes they'll keep them, and then sometimes they'll exit. They'll 3 or 4x what they put into it, sell it, you know, and that's the great thing. Now the funny thing is they put, I think they put like $200 million in Bitcoin in like 2020. And everyone was like, oh, they bought Bitcoin. And it's like, you realize that comes out to like 0.01% of their total assets is in Bitcoin. So for like for me and you, Rob, it's like, well, how much could I put in Bitcoin? 0.01% of your assets you could put in Bitcoin if you're following that model. So I don't worry about them. I don't worry about, you know, like when the markets crash. They've been around since paying dividends since the 1850s and 60s every year in a row. So that's the Civil War, you know, the World War I, the Great Depression, World War II, the Korean War, the 1950s recession, Vietnam, you know, the deflation and interest rates that we had going on in the 80s, the tech bubble, you know, the mortgage crisis, 2020, all of these things they've always paid. So I love it. I don't look at markets because of that. It just doesn't impact my portfolio. If you're wondering, what does Wealth Dynamics do? How can we actually help you? Number one, if you haven't gotten a copy of my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom, grab one now. You can get that down in the comments in the video. You can get the link for that. Number two, we do a free course on Fridays on personal finance. Okay, you can also get the link for the description there too. And then finally, if you have a desire to start getting help walking through these different phases toward financial freedom, book a call with my team. Go to our website, set up a call. We're able to help out and answer questions. That's how we can help you. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you turn notifications on, and I will talk to you guys on the next video.